All right, so this came in today. On one hand, I'm pretty excited, but on the other hand, it's a little bittersweet. With everything going on in the world these days, it's probably gonna be a little while before I get a chance to use it. But let's take a look at it anyway, and I'll answer some of the questions that I was sent over Twitter and Instagram. Let's roll that intro. So I was just like everyone else and ordered this off of Kickstarter back in either September or October last year. I'm sure most of you probably have heard of Peter McKinnon, but he's got a YouTube channel, 4.5 million followers or so. Does a great job with video, does some photo work. Anyway, he got together with this company, Nomatic, and they designed a camera backpack. I know I just showed my gear case, last week, my hard case that I use locally, but it's, as I mentioned in that video, it's pretty heavy, doesn't have wheels, kind of hard to get around. I've been on the lookout for a bag that maybe I could use for the local purposes, like I've been using that case, and my travel purposes. So, and I'll pull my previously used travel bag so we can compare it to this one once I get it open. Let's get into it. Don't judge me by the size of my blade. I know it's kind of a big thing on YouTube to be whipping out these fancy knives. I like to carry a small one that fits in my pocket without bothering me too much. And bear with me here too, because I've kind of forgotten what all I got. It's been a while. And here's a compression cube. I think you can put clothes and stuff in these and compress them down, and I believe they fit into a compartment in this bag. So this bag could serve the purpose of both clothes and gear, which would be nice for maybe a short overnight trip or maybe 2 nights. Very nice logo treatment on the bag here. I think he's got a cool secondary logo where I think he's beginning to merchandise a lot of stuff. And so good on Peter. Great branding. So here's the pack. Just for size sake, give me a minute and I'll grab my old bag. So this is what I've been using here. This is a Low Pro, I believe it's a Trekker bag. This one I like because I can fit 2 bodies in it. I don't have the model number. It's the, I don't think they even sell these anymore, the CompuTrekker AW. I can fit 2 camera bodies in here, several lenses, 15-inch laptop, most of my cables and stuff. I mean, it gets tight, but I'll travel with a rolling bag with clothes, and then I'll have this bag which I can stow underneath the seat in front of me on an airplane. This looks like it'd probably be a little too big for that purpose. Yeah. But let's take a look. I believe this top compartment is where, if you do stow clothes, this would be the clothes would go here. Nice little strap here to hold everything in place. You got little cubbies here. Some nice zipped enclosures here. And then also got a piece of luggage. I believe this, yeah, you unzip this here, and so this expands out. So you got more room in here for clothes for an extended stay. And then with the believe with this compression packing cube, I believe this would fit like right in here, and you can put your clothes in here and push them down. Just a little more of an efficient way of packing. This unhooks here. So I'm guessing it goes something like this once you have it all together. There we go. And then on the outside, I believe it's got some little pockets. Yeah, in the top here, there's a magnetized pocket. You can hear that. So that's nice. When you're traveling, you can keep your documents here, identification, passport, that type of thing. It's always nice to have easy access to that type of stuff. Looks like it got a little out of shape maybe on the trip here. All right, well that's that side. Kind of zipping through this. No pun intended. I will say these zippers are really nice. And they seal. You can see that, but it's got a nice tight kind of rubber seal on them. I guess that makes them somewhat weatherproof. Straps feel good. I've heard already from early reviewers that these are super comfortable. This waist strap is optional. I believe it comes out. Yeah, you can pull that out. It's Velcroed on the back side, but you can pull that out if you don't want to use the strap. And then you obviously can put it back in the bag or leave it. All right, so let's get into the back here. Computer compartment, nice and padded. And there, kind of similar to with this bag. It's kind of on the strap end here. So the computer on this bag goes into the top. Waste a lot of time zipping and unzipping. All right, so that's nice. I'm not sure, I'm sure it's like a 15-inch at least. Now these are heavy duty zips here. So let's see. Nice. So we've got extra dividers in here. You can fit lenses, some straps. On the outside, I think on this side, you can put a water bottle magnetized or a tripod right here and loop these straps through some of these loops here and keep whatever you've got in there. I went ahead and got some of these organizational cases. I could use these in any other case too, and these look like a neat idea, and I can use anything that is made out there for helping me organize, so this is pretty nice. This little compartment here, and I think they sell these separately. Really nicely done. Yeah, this is accessory case. So, looks like it's set to go in on its side right here for now. This is the filter case. I mainly use round filters, so I believe they'll work just fine in this case here. 2, 4, 6, and then you've got another strap here. So, as you saw, I guess if you watched my last What's in My Case video, I keep my polarizers in between like 2 dividers in my hard case. And it's worked, but something like this where I know exactly where they'll be, this will be nice. And this looks like it'll go in something like that, or it could probably go in one of these zipper cases here. Let's see here, we got a battery case. Nice, you can hear that. Magnetized. Looks like these would fit the smaller, more in-body batteries for, I guess, the Nikon or Canon. And if you're not using it for batteries, you could put, some other little things in here. Organizing. Let's see here, and here is SD card, CFast, and mini SD storage. So another, gotta love these magnets. Another little accessory case here, very nice. Kind of similar to the other kind of blue case that I've got there, but I don't think you can have too many of these types of organizational cases, so that's pretty sweet. Let's see, up here we got these nice zipped pouches. All this is pretty heavy duty stuff. Got another, this goes about halfway down. You probably fit your tablet, iPad in there. Pretty sick bag, I'm pretty excited. These are super heavy duty dividers, which can be a good thing for structural integrity, but it might take a little bit of work to move them around and get them positioned, exactly where you'll need them once you kind of figure out, or once I kind of figure out what I'm going to have in here and where everything's going to go. And I see over here's side access. I'm not really one that, nice, has got a Velcro here onto these dividers. So you could have your camera right in here and be able to quick access camera or lens. I didn't show this either. This looks like a waterproof cover. Yeah, so you get into some weather. I think that one's got one that zips or stuffs underneath. This one you just have it in that small little form factor, and then put it over the bag. I guess if you are getting into some weather, put that together later. And that's about that. I've also got this here. So let me zip this back and we'll stand it up. So there is that. I believe this is the other organizing kind of cube, which transforms into a day pack. This is the most functional gear ever. Function is good. All right, this is, and I'll unzip that again, show where this fits. I remember this. This was an option. It's called the Cube Pack. And this goes from 7 to 21 liters. So I'm opening this the first time with y'all as well. Let's see here. So this turns from the cube there into a day pack, but you can also access this without it becoming here we go, right here. So this is where the straps are on the top zipper. And then you can hook them in down here, so it becomes like a small day pack. Pretty cool to have in a large backpack. So if you go somewhere, probably I would think more like on a vacation type thing and don't want to carry this big old bag, then you can access that smaller bag for like a day trip type thing. And so here's the silicone stuff. This other cube, which I believe, let's see. So used to opening the other end, that's going to take some getting used to, or other side, I should say. All right, so this goes in here some way. I'm going to have to figure that out, but yeah, right in there. So I guess you could leave that unzipped and then have it closed, and then when you need to get something, you can pop it like that. So pretty cool. Now let's get to a couple of your questions. Let me put this off to the side. All right, first question, Corey Wonderly from up there at Ohio State, I believe, hits me with a question: why is Nikon far superior? Haha, JK. Not gonna really touch that one, Corey, but for me, it's one of those things where Nikon really made a good step up a couple years ago with the D800. And from there, went to the 810, and now I shoot with the D850s. And for what I do, they haven't really given me any reason to change. Now with video, that camera leaves a lot to be desired for video. That's why I've been shooting with this Nikon Z6, which again, it's worked actually really well for me. I know Canon and Sony, their autofocus works a lot better, but once again, I can get the adapter and use all the F-class for my other cameras, and then I've got the Z kit lens that I've been using here. So until maybe that new Canon EOS R5 that's coming out, it looks pretty interesting. So maybe when that comes out, I'll kind of peek around a little bit. And that'd probably be more for video, because I am really pleased with what the D850 does for me. And D850 specifically, frames per second, low light autofocus, which helps me a lot. When I light my sets at places, I'll have, and specifically when we're doing the action type sequences, I'll have the players usually start off a set, so they can be in the dark, and the autofocus, tracking autofocus and continuous autofocus with the D850, I can now start tracking that player offset, and when he comes into the light, I can begin shooting as he crosses kind of over what I call the hero area in the middle where the best light is. But I can gain focus on him outside of set. He comes through and I can shoot him all the way through and get all kinds of different poses, that type of thing. The D810 and D800, the low light, the focus wasn't good enough to pull that off. And then they were a little bit slower frames per second. So that camera's changed a lot as far as that's concerned. Let me keep going here. What is your organizational workflow? So kind of like those organizational aids in that bag, I'm not the best. I need things like that to help me stay organized. But usually on a shoot, I will, let's see, you got here from import to archiving, tagging, backups, etc. Usually on a shoot, I'll break them into folders depending on what we're doing. And then those will go on to, I usually shoot into like an iMac or laptop if I'm traveling and don't have access to an iMac. Then I'll drop those onto one of those SSD drives. And then when I get back here, so then I'll have 2 backups. Sometimes if I shoot on the card, I'll have 3 backups. Once I get back here, I've got a OWC RAID system. I think it's around 50 terabytes, something around there, in a RAID 5 configuration. So with the RAID 5, I'll be able to salvage my data because it's backed up. Nothing too crazy with tagging, that type of thing. I just name folders and then I'll star them, or while we're on set, my clients, I'll give them access to the files in between setups where they can tag the images that they like, their selects. And so from there, we have a pretty good starting point. So like if they're in New York or Chicago, Toronto, LA, and then I'm back here, we already have a starting point of which images we can kind of work with. And then if I'm doing the retouching, then I know my selection base is a lot smaller. So instead of having to go back and forth sending galleries and that type of thing. So that's the optimal. So I mean, I hope that answers kind of what you're getting at there. Overall, I would not say that's one of my strong suits, but I've yet to lose any files, and it's been working. But I'm not one of those guys that keeps 6 backups and then a drive offsite and then something in the cloud and all that kind of stuff. So cross my fingers. All right, so next on the docket, Joe Johnson, who I do a lot of work with here in South Carolina, hits me up with, what's been your most enjoyable shoot? Well, any of them with you, Joe, any of them here. They're all enjoyable as long as you're on set. But seriously, I guess I've been thinking about this one. I really enjoy most every one of my shoots just because it's what I love doing. Those are the days that as a photographer we kind of strive for, the actual shoot days. There's so many other things we have to do to get to that actual day behind camera that I do my best to try to relish that moment for a while, or for a moment while we're doing the work. But I guess if I was gonna have to select one favorite shoot, it might be one I did back in 2014 on my own as a kind of side project, personal project, if you will, where we recreated a kind of a period piece and at a Revolutionary War site near here. So I had, we did casting, had a producer, basically did everything that goes into a shoot. I worked for a couple months with a lot of great hair and makeup stylists, wardrobe stylists, did some location scouting. We shot on location for 3 days. It was just 3 days of just 100% creativity, and really came up with some really neat, images. You can see them on my website. It's kind of a project that I called Revolution. So let's see a glare on the picture there, and I put together a promotional piece, leather bound, kind of a period piece, to where my thought going into the project and the end result would be something that you might find in the rucksack on a saddlebag and during that period. So put together a full, I guess about 50 of these, and sent them to select clients and prospects, hoping to get more work in the entertainment realm. So a whole nother topic of marketing and acquiring clients that if people are interested, I could probably do a whole video on that aspect as well. So, but this, if you're gonna kind of stick me in a corner, the Revolution shoot, that you can see some of the images on my website, and I'll drop some on here as we talk about it, but that would probably be the top one. All right, last question from Zach, who also does some work down here at Kilgore. What's the process like for you when you are preparing for a photo shoot? How custom is the experience for each person? And I had maybe two other people on Instagram ask me something very similar. I guess each shoot is gonna be different to an extent. If I'm working with a team, if I'm working with, say, like the team here, I'm usually familiar with them and don't have to do too much research on the individual players and that type of thing. I kind of know going in. But if I'm going to work with Russell Westbrook or Gronkowski or Giancarlo Stanton, Tobin Heath, something like that, recently I was with Ryan Blaney. I will spend at least a day or a couple hours in a day just researching them if I don't know too much about them prior to, but I'll get to a point at least where I can have a conversation with them to kind of build a rapport once we get on set. So some of my prep is just to get to learn about the athlete or the person. I've done some entertainment figures too, and so I did Chelsea Handler's book a couple years ago, so I went and watched several of her shows just so I would kind of be up to speed on what she was all about, get a kind of a feel for her personality. So it's kind of that type of thing to where I don't want to come across as like a fan. But I do want to be educated, and especially if I'm doing action with an athlete, I like to watch them, some tape on them, I guess you would say, almost research to see kind of what they do, what kind of moves they do, whether it's a football player, what position they play. Basketball, you can, if someone's got, a step back jumper, or they do kind of a signature dunk type thing. It's one of those aspects when I get on set with a client that I can kind of have that rapport with the athlete and help direct what we want them to do, and then I can kind of maybe pull up a an example, say like, you know, if someone, I'm just looking at his jersey over here, if Russell Westbrook had a game against the Celtics and made a drive, or maybe, you know, juke somebody and did a step back, maybe I'll refer to that and say, hey, you remember when you did that against so-and-so in the game? And that's kind of a good icebreaker, and you know, that usually gets a smile out of them, where that, you know, if they schooled somebody on a play and you bring that up in a manner, professional manner, where you're working with them, then it's, it kind of shows that you know you've done some study on them and puts them at ease. Then outside of that, it kind of goes back to my camera case video, where we have a creative call. They let me know what they want to get out of the photo shoot, so then I have to prepare on this end to make sure I have what I need. And as we go through the day, we work our way through the checklist. All right, so I think that just about does it for this video. I kind of changed things up. I hope y'all enjoyed the new setup. I'm gonna kind of maybe move around the studio a little bit and see what works, what doesn't work. Excuse me for kind of looking up into the monitor. I just realized I've been watching that more than probably looking in the lens for the most part. But, you know, if you like this video, please hit the thumbs up. I know with the low subscriber count I have, that helps out a lot. Share it. There's the notification bell, and along with the low subscriber count, I don't think people get notified unless they see on Twitter or Instagram or something that I put up, you know, the fact that there's a new video available. So I'm just a little fish in a big pond, so any help is greatly appreciated on the other end of this. If you've got any other questions or comments, anything else you want me to cover, these ideas that I've been getting at have been great. They kind of help me know what might be interesting for people out there. So that guides me, helps me out on that end. And as always, you can find me on Instagram and Twitter at QuantzPhoto. That's really about it. I'm enjoying doing these. I hope I'm getting a little bit better at it, and I will see y'all in the next one. Oh, whoops. Too strong.